What up, Wasp fans? Welcome to episode 3 of Buzz Time. Today we're going to get into 2 recaps of men's and women's basketball and the overall season, ODACs, things of that nature. And then we have a special guest, Rod Brown, and we're going to get right into the Blue and Golden Globes as he and Ali Pollard will be the hosts. So let's jump right into it. And we're back, and we're about to jump right into the ODAC predictions that we had this past week, 2 weeks ago prior. But we're going to talk about Caleb Simpson. He won it out. He had the best prediction. I'll read that out for you. He picked Miles Turner, Corey Moore, Zach Burnett, Malcolm Clark, Clayton Murtha, and Carson Long. And he was just one off there. Let's talk about, the final tally of players who actually made the All-ODAC first team, and obviously some of us picked Alec Wynn, and why, let's start off with him and why he wasn't selected.
Well, I was kind of shocked at first off to see Emory and Henry only had one player named on all 3 teams, even though we had the Rookie of the Year as well, Colin Molden. We only had Miles Turner named to the second team. I really kind of thought Miles would make first team in his last senior year just because he is Miles Turner. You see all the coaches walk up to him at the end of every single game, and they're like, that's Miles Turner. I got to talk to him. He's the GOAT, man. I mean, that's just the best way to put it. He is the GOAT. And just to see him not make first team was kind of disappointing to see that. Then just to also not see any of our other players on our team make it as well because, honestly, I thought some of the players this year had great seasons, enough to make third or second team. I really thought Colin Molden, winning Rookie of the Year, would honestly make third or second team because his stats were a little bit better than Miles in a few categories, but in the end, it didn't work out, and I really thought Chase Branscombe got snubbed of a third-team selection, and so did Alec Wynn.
Absolutely. And Khalil, you see what goes on, and what are your thoughts?
Well, like McClung said, I definitely think that Miles deserved a first-team award, but I didn't list this guy, but Ryan Gravely, he just has maturity for the team. We got some keys at point guard, but he's a guy with maturity. You don't see guys take the ball away from him a lot, and I'm surprised that he didn't at least make one of the 3 teams. So,
and a few weeks ago, I talked to Coach Wolf about Miles Turner, as you mentioned, and like you said, the name Miles Turner rings so loud in the ODAC, and it's so prevalent. Everybody, I think, was expecting him to be on the first team, but making the second team, second year in a row for that. Making that progress, but just the leadership that he showed, it was surprising in that. And I'm going to bring Rod into the conversation as an Emory and Henry, as the eyes on us and being on campus and just knowing about the team. What was it? Was it surprising to you not to see Miles? Knowing that name in that athletic realm of campus.
Yeah, it was definitely surprising. I came in with Miles when we was freshmen, and just to see how much he's grown throughout this whole 5 years, it's been crazy. He's really matured in his game and everything. You can tell he really cares about the team, and not to see him not as a first-team ballot, especially in the great year he had this year, it was wild. He still deserves it.
Right, and we're going to go to talking about women's, and, who do you think should have gotten onto any of the 3 teams on the women's team?
Well, I think the 2 girls that made it from Emory and Henry were the 2 girls that should have made it this year for Emory and Henry. I was kind of surprised to see Megan Jacoby and Taylor Blevins. Like I said, they both deserved to make it, but I was surprised to not see Megan Jacoby on that first team, just with the season she had. Some of her categories that she was in, she led the conference in steals and assists, and people don't see those as big categories because everybody's like, points. That's a big category. Well, when you're in the realm of this game, assists and steals are actually some of the biggest factors in the game. She was top 15 in steals, and then top 15 in assists and top 5 in steals. And the fact that she only made second team when she's that close in the NCAA, when there are 320 Division III teams, that blows my mind.
And I think looking at Taylor Blevins, she has 2 more years. She has so much upside to go and be on that first team. She has 2 more years to kind of extend the role that she has already had. And so I think she'll be fine in the future. But Megan Jacoby, I think, has a similar kind of situation as Miles. People were expecting her to be on that first team. She's a floor general. She has that, mentality on and off the court. So just being able to, just seeing that was also surprising. And I think those were the major things in finding out who was on the ODAC teams this year. So we're going to move on from the ODAC teams, and we're going to transition into a recap of the men's and women's basketball season, specifically talking about ODACs. So let's start off with the women's this time.
All right, well, with the women's side, I mean, they had an outstanding season. Made it to the semifinals again. Were eliminated by the same team as last season, Guilford College, the eventual ODAC champion this year. Their run this year, I really think that what kind of hindered them was their quarterfinal matchup against Shenandoah. Don't get me wrong, Shenandoah is a good team. I mean, they played them close this year, but Shenandoah also got beat this season by Emory and Henry 103-43. And the fact that they upset Virginia Wesleyan, I think Emory and Henry really needed to play Virginia Wesleyan in that quarterfinal to shape them up for that semifinal matchup against that strong Guilford College team. And I think to play that little, not like I said, don't get me wrong in this, but like Shenandoah is a little weaker team than Virginia Wesleyan was, even though they beat them. I think that kind of hindered them and eventually was a reason in their fall in the semifinals.
Right, and Khalil and I both watched the Shenandoah game, and I mean, it was domination. Expected to win. It was kind of like maybe, are you saying basically maybe their mindset was kind of, we got Shenandoah.
I mean, Asia Jenkins shot 100% in that game.
Yeah, she was on fire.
Megan Jacoby didn't put up one single shot, and they still won. Taylor Blevins did not play the entire second half. I mean, so it was good to get those players that type of rest that they probably needed, but I think, like I said, there were also the disadvantages of playing Shenandoah as well.
Right.
I really like that the younger players got to get that experience in that night. It was really good to see Maisha at point, so that maturity was developed as they got to experience that ODAC play. But yeah, I agree with McClung. Just starting off with a team that you blew out about so much, it's not allowing you to bring on your sharpest game, preparing you for the game that was a lot tougher. So.
Well, there's nothing that should hinder what you're trying to accomplish, and if that's what you're saying, I get what you're saying. But what do you think with Guilford? What were the keys there in that game that kind of took away?
See, against Shenandoah, Emory and Henry had 17 turnovers. That's a high amount of turnovers to have, and the fact that they played Shenandoah and they were still able to win by that much, I think that kind of brought up didn't bring up that big of a category for them in the next game. Didn't really get them prepared that well. And I think against Guilford was able to turn those turnovers into points, and that ended up being the reason that Emory and Henry fell.
Right. And we're going to transition into men's now. We're going to talk about, they get to the ODAC championship, and they fall short. But to no avail, although you see Miles Turner and you see the key guys making those ODAC teams, but they just didn't get the goal that they were trying to achieve. And what was that?
The men's team had such an outstanding season. The quarterfinal matchup against Roanoke College showed how strong that team was, and coming in, you saw the fire, the emotion. I remember Chase Branscombe made this shot on an and one, and he was just so fired up. I remember him going exactly like this. And then you just saw the emotion of Ryan Grabley and Miles Turner as well. Their seniors realizing that could have been their final game. Well, that pushed them forward to their semifinal matchup against WNL, to where that team was down at the half y'all were down by as much as 14 points, but were able to go on a nice little 6-0 run, got down 36-30 before the half, and then that run at the end of the first half helped move the team forward in that second half to eventually move on to the ODAC championship. Absolutely,
and you got to think about the journey that it took. I mean, we had to face Roanoke first, and that was going to be a challenge. We lost to Roanoke regular season, and they're just a live or die by the three type team. They can play a little 4 out 1 in, and they showcased that in the tournament. So that was just the first challenge of the tournament, and it did pose some difficulty on the men's team and trying to find the shooters, trying to make sure that we were in their space. In transitioning from Roanoke to Washington and Lee had beaten Randolph-Macon, who we struggled to beat during the season. So I think, and they weren't going to give up, and that was such a close game. I mean, it came down to the end. Threw up a half-court shot.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Aaron Ferguson got fouled with about 2 seconds left in the game. Y'all were only up 3 points, 6-7-6-4. The big fella went to the line shooting too. Really did actually come down to those 2 free throws, as we saw, because he made both of them, made the score 69-64. Well, then Washington Lee just inbounds it, and then Kearns threw that half-court heave just like that. And I was on the broadcast, and I was already saying, Well, that will do it for today's broadcast. But the score will not actually be 69-64. It'll actually be 69-67 as Kearns buried that half-court shot. So it really did come down to the wire in that one.
And then in the game against Guilford, disappointing, as you talked about. It was just difficult. They were hedging us out, hedging Ryan and Miles out. It was just difficult to attack. So strategy on their part was difficult for us to attack, but at the same time, we did attack, and it wasn't like our efforts were in vain. But in transitioning, we all wanted to see, Emory and Henry make that championship run. We haven't been there since the '94. So, that was just a big accomplishment in and of itself. Just a disappointing season, but not a disappointing season because of everything that the men's team has achieved. All right, now we're going to talk about, introducing our special guest, Rod Brown, talking about the Blue and Golden Globes. He's going to be hosting it with Allie Pollard, and talk about it.
Well, the Blue and Golden Globe Awards are on April 24th in the MCA Center. What we're really just going for, we want to have everyone have a good time. We're going to have some laughs. We're going to try to maybe reenact some Friday scenes with Allie and myself. Just want to have, just have a good time, relax and just enjoy all the teams and events that went throughout this whole season, all year.
What are some awards that maybe are going to be thrown out there? Is it going to be similar to last year? Or
yeah, it'll definitely be similar to last year. Just maybe just a couple more tweaks, just have a little fun.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be similar.
What was it like for you to be selected to host the show this year with Allie Pollard?
I actually loved it. Like this whole year, I've been doing the hosting for the basketball games at halftime and stuff like that. But having Allie, another soul that's just like me, just likes to be a free spirit and to have fun, that really means a lot. I didn't really want to do it all by myself, but having someone like Allie, we'll definitely commend each other.
How was the competitiveness of getting the position? Do you know how many people were competing to host this?
Well, I believe there was at least I want to say 9 people.
Wow. Congrats.
Maybe, but as the deadline to do auditions came, people just kept dropping off, and I know Allie and myself really wanted to do it, so there was no way we was going to drop off. So yeah, we just ended up being the lucky ones to be still standing.
Cool. Congrats. That's awesome.
So if there's one thing or one takeaway that we're going to get from the Blue and Golden Globes, getting people there, what would that be?
Entertainment. It'll definitely be entertaining. Have a lot of laughs. I definitely advise everyone to come out. Definitely.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Come to the Blue and Golden Globe Awards, as there's going to be many awards presented for the different sports teams that have accomplished so many great things throughout this year. And that's going to do it for us here on Buzz Time. I'm Andrew Davis, your host, alongside Khalil King, today with Rod Brown and Andrew McClung. We are going to sign it off until next week. Swagadelia.
The shmoney dab.